and welcome. Tonight, tensions at fever pitch in Rivers State as Governor Siminalayi Fubara alleges an attempt by the police to invade the premises of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission to disrupt the planned local government election tomorrow. The Rivers State Police Command says its officers will not provide security for the conduct of the local government election in the state, as both the state chapter of the APC and the PDP kick against the conduct of the election. And Borno State records 451 cases of suspected cholera across 5 local government areas. The State Commissioner for Health, Professor Babagana, says the outbreak is as a result of the flood disaster that ravaged the state.
On business news, the African Development Bank says it is targeting 120 million tons of food production by 2025.
On sports news tonight, Paul Pogba's 4-year ban for doping offense has been reduced to 18 months after winning his appeal to the Court of Arbitration for Sports.
And from Abuja, the nation's capital, the president confers the nation's second highest national honor, the Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger, on the Speaker of the House of Representatives. The presidency says President Bola Tinubu was persuaded by the position of the House of Representatives and has decided to remedy the historical error and oversight.
And in international news from London, more airstrikes have been reported in southern Beirut and in Lebanon as Israel tells more than 30 villages in the south to evacuate.
We begin in Rivers State, where tensions continue to escalate ahead of the planned local government election as the state government and the Nigeria police remain at odds over the upcoming poll. Now, in a shocking turn of events, the State Police Command announced its decision to withdraw from providing security for the election. Well, the Rivers State government, however, hit back, accusing the police of attempting to sabotage the election process by invading the premises of the state electoral body on the orders of the Inspector General of Police.
"24 hours before the scheduled local government elections in Rivers State, the controversy surrounding the polls has escalated into a dramatic turn of events. While previous activities, whether in support or against the elections, were held in broad daylight, the latest drama occurred in the early hours of Friday. A number of policemen, labeled as rogue officers by the state government, allegedly attempted to breach the gates of the State Independent Electoral Commission in an effort to access the commission's strong room to seize sensitive electoral material intended for the Saturday election. The effort by the officers, reportedly led by a deputy commissioner of police, were thwarted when security personnel on duty informed key officials of the commission and government authorities, who in turn notified the governor of the unfolding situation. In his response, the governor, accompanied by government officials, members of the National and State Assemblies, and prominent political stakeholders, quickly mobilized to the State Independent Electoral Commission facility on Aba Road, Port Harcourt. There, the governor condemned the attempted breach, attributing the action of the officers to orders from the Inspector General of Police.
Everybody is aware of the court judgment, and even the judgment as they call it, the ruling. Did the ruling specify anywhere that the election should not hold? He said, don't give voters register. What are we doing with it? Okay, police, don't provide security. Don't provide security. Is this the same thing as blocking the election? I said the government wrote a letter with the judgment that we have to him. And what he's acting on is what he called the federal government, the judgment he got from the Federal High Court. The election result will be declared. People will be sworn in.
The police have not responded directly to the allegation of attempting to break into the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission office, but it has said that it will not provide security for the polls. According to a statement by the spokesperson of the Rivers State Command, the police confirmed being in receipt of a restraining order preventing them from providing security during the election. The statement further notes that the Force Legal Department has advised that the ruling from the Federal High Court in Abuja, delivered on September the 30th, 2024, takes precedence. The police also referenced a protest by the ruling party in the state, the PDP, during which they demanded compliance with the court's orders. In a follow-up media briefing at the Government House in Port Harcourt, Governor Siminalayi Fubara considers the position of the police on the election inconsequential. He vows the state will resist any attempt to disrupt the poll.
Any attempt by anyone, any sister agencies to stop this election, we are prepared to make sure that we resist it. I'm not calling international community. I just want the world. I want you people to let people know that we are prepared. We are prepared.
As a way of protecting the facility, key government officials, including the Chief of Staff to Governor Fubara, the Speaker of the pro-Fubara lawmakers, and members of the state and national assemblies and other stakeholders are stationed at the entrance of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission office.
Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party and the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State are ramping up pressure in order to ensure the exercise doesn't go on as planned. Both parties are dissociating themselves from the process and actively calling on their members to boycott the exercise. Our correspondent Charles Oporum reports.
The Rivers State chapter of the PDP is asking its members across the state not to participate in tomorrow's local government elections. Speaking during a news conference at the party's secretariat, the state party chairman, Aaron Chukwuemeka, warned against the announcement of any results.
We enjoin the general public to disregard any announcement calling for 5th October 2024 local government election, as same is a call for crisis and which will not be in the best interest of the River State.
In a related development, the APC South Vice Chairman, Victor Giadom, says the APC has no candidate in the election as none was screened by the National Working Committee of the party.
When were forms purchased by those candidates? Where is the receipt of purchase of their forms? And who screened them? So please ignore whoever parades himself to be contesting the so-called election here in Rivers State because they are not members of the All Progressives Congress.
Elsewhere, a cross-section of Rivers elders have also kicked against tomorrow's election. Speaking in Port Harcourt, they called on the NSCDC not to partner with the government in breaking the laws of the land.
Let us also call on civil defense and all other paramilitary organizations in this country. Your oath of office, your line of duty is to defend the laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Judgment of court is part of our law, and you must defend it.
This order covers that sophistry, is what I'll call it, that kind of attempt to deflect what the purport and the effect of this particular order is. It clearly makes it clear to all concerned that don't go further with any of the arrangements you made concerning this election.
With tomorrow's local government elections shrouded in controversy, there appears to be a lot of uncertainty surrounding whether or not the polls will go ahead as planned by Governor Siminalayi Fubara. Charles Oporum, Channels Television News.
Well, the Rivers State chapter of the PDP might not want to go ahead with the polls, but the National Working Committee of the party thinks differently. Now, the PDP National Working Committee is asking its members in Rivers State to come out en masse and vote for the party at the local government election in the state this Saturday. A statement signed by the party's National Publicity Secretary, Mr. Debo Oluguagba, calls on the police and the electoral umpire to ensure that the election holds in a peaceful and transparent manner. The PDP asked that the Inspector General of Police ensure that the exercise holds in a peaceful atmosphere as professionally and constitutionally required of him. Well, the stance of the NWC of the PDP is coming at a time where some members of the party in Rivers State are threatening to boycott the election on Saturday. In the meantime, stakeholders concerned about the planned local government election in Rivers State have been reacting to the recent developments, including the withdrawal of the police from the exercise. Our correspondent, Deborah Agbalama, reports the opinion of some of them on the situation.
The premises of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, RISEC, on Aba Road in Port Harcourt is experiencing an unusual beehive of activities. It stems from the dramatic turn of events where some police officers were accosted for reportedly attempting to break into the premises with the aim to stop the local government poll scheduled to commence tomorrow. Speaking on the development, RISEC Commissioner for Public Affairs and Civic Education, Toby Tamunotoyin, assures voters of adequate security during the elections, noting that aside from the police and the DSS, other security agencies will be present to ensure safety.
The security agencies that were asked by that judgment not to grant us security is just the Nigeria Police and the DSS. Now, I can tell you that there are other security agencies also that were not part of that suit. And so they are all fully mobilized. And I want to assure Rivers people that their security is guaranteed.
Similarly, the Inter-Party Advisory Council, which condemns the decision of the police to withdraw from the elections, says it believes in the ability of the state government to provide alternative security for the polls. An opinion Labour Party's Hilda Dokubo also shares.
The state government has told us, have made it very open, that they will provide security. And we believe in the state governor. Yes, we believe in him. It's embarrassing to the state. It's an insult to Rivers people that we have one governor of the state and is doing everything to ensure that the state moves peacefully. And then you have a handful of persons who feel they want Rivers State to be held in their pocket. It's not allowed.
As we say in entertainment, the show must go on. And for this particular election, this election must hold. Because people have been working tirelessly. People need to do this election. I mean, like, how do you tell somebody who's been working in the last 3 months, July, August, September, this is October, who has been working, going round communities, knocking on doors and doing door to door? You are telling the person he can't hold an election for what? Why exactly?
Residents of Rivers State also have their take on the issue.
Sure, I will vote, of course. This is my PVC.
Tomorrow's election is sacrosanct. Nothing stops it. So as a voter, I have to perform my civic right tomorrow.
The chairman of the Rivers Elders and Leaders Forum, Rufus Arthur George, on the flip side, is appealing for peace and restraint to prevail during the elections. Arthur George, who is a one-time governor of Rivers State, condemned the incidents involving the police at the RISEC office last night and urges political parties to respect the democratic process while maintaining order.
We are now, through this medium, calling for unity, calling for peace in Rivers State. Unfortunately, it will appear the agencies that are supposed to be encouraging and working for peace are indirectly seeming to lay the foundation for disunity in Rivers State.
The hope would be for issues to be amicably resolved in such a manner that violence is averted. Deborah Agbalama, Channels Television News.
Staying with the Rivers State local government elections, and Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Femi Falana, is asking the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Kayode Egbetukun, to direct the Rivers State Police Command to ensure law and order during the upcoming October 5th local government elections, despite a recent Federal High Court judgment barring police participation in the polls. Writing on behalf of his client, the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, Mr. Falana asked the police to refrain from taking any action that could disrupt the elections or frustrate the legal process. He notes that an appeal has been filed against the September 30th judgment of the Federal High Court Abuja delivered by Justice P.O. Lifu, which ruled that the police should not partake in the election. He adds that along with the appeal, a motion for stay of execution of the court's judgment has also been filed, and that under the law, once a notice of appeal and a motion for stay of execution are submitted, parties involved are expected to maintain the status quo until the appeal is determined. Meanwhile, the Nigeria police, however, says the actions of the police officers in Rivers State conforms with a court order barring the force from participating in the local government elections in Rivers State. In a statement this evening, the Force Public Relations Officer, Mr. Olumoyiwa Adejobi, refuted the allegations leveled against the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Kayode Egbetokun, by the Rivers State Governor, Siminalayi Fubara. The governor had earlier on today accused the police of attempting to sabotage the election process by invading the premises of the state electoral body on the orders of the IGP. In part two, after the break, Borno State records 451 cases of suspected cholera across 5 local government areas. The State Commissioner for Health, Professor Baba Gana, says the outbreak is as a result of the flood disaster that ravaged the state. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Tensions at fever pitch in Rivers State as Governor Siminalayi Fubara alleges an attempt by the police to invade the premises of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission to disrupt the planned local government election tomorrow, just as the police refutes allegations made against it by the Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara. The Rivers State Police Command says its officers will not provide security for the conduct of the local government election in the state, as both the state chapter of the APC and the PDP kick against the conduct of the poll. Borno State records 451 cases of suspected cholera across 5 local government areas. The State Commissioner for Health, Professor Baba Gana, says the outbreak is as a result of the flood disaster that ravaged the state. And Israeli strike hits key roads to flee Lebanon. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is recognizing the Benue State Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party, led by Mr. Ezekiel Adaji. The State Acting Administrative Secretary of the Commission, Mr. Nandam Dombe, made the clarification while addressing journalists during the party's elective state congress in Makodi, the Benue State capital. Mr. Adaji was declared winner by the PDP Benue State Electoral Committee Chairman, Mr. Shaban Ibrahim, after polling 2,482 votes.
Over 2,900 delegates of the People's Democratic Party converged on this park in Makodi, the Benue State capital, for the elective congress to elect a new state working committee. Former Governor Samuel Otom is in the company of the Senate's minority leader, Senator Abamuru, at the venue. The process gets underway with the distribution of ballot materials for 41 positions up for grabs. One after the other, delegates cast their votes under the watchful eyes of security operatives and representatives of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC.
Very impressive and peaceful conduct of the State Congress. And we thank God for everything and hope sincerely that this spirit of oneness that has been demonstrated today will carry us to 2027.
The ballots are then counted, and Mr. Ezekiel Adaji emerges winner of the elections by the State Electoral Committee.
By the powers conferred on me as the returning officer for the Benue State PDP State Congress held today, the 3rd day of October 2024, hereby declared right Honorable Ezekiel.
We assure you that in the next election, working with our leaders and the electorate, we are going to come back fully and take over the state and the country entirely. Our leaders, we are very, very grateful.
The Congress is holding amidst divisions within the party. However, INEC lays the matter to rest.
I'm not aware of such. The only one I know is what has happened here today. So we're not in any way knowledgeable about any other election congress taking place anywhere, either than the one here.
The exercise saw the election of other officers of the State Executive Committee of the party. They were subsequently sworn into office by the legal officer of the caretaker committee.
Borno State has recorded 451 cases of suspected cholera across 5 local government areas. The State Commissioner for Health and Human Services, Professor Baba Gana, confirmed the figure at a media briefing in Maiduguri, the state capital. Professor Gana says the outbreak is as a result of the flood disaster that ravaged the state.
The flood water in parts of Maiduguri is receding, and residents of the Borno state capital are gradually returning to their normal lives. However, the impact of the flood is impacting on the health of the residents, as the state records suspected cases of cholera across 5 local government areas.
We are recording increasing number of acute watery diarrhea, which is suspicious of cholera, which is not unconnected with the flood devastation. We are recording increasing number of acute watery diarrhea, and the Ministry of Health recorded 451 cases of acute watery diarrhea.
Though the state is yet to record any death from the latest outbreak, the state government is making plans to set up health facilities to manage the situation. Part of the plan includes fumigation of camps for the internally displaced persons, as well as the provision of at least 400,000 doses of vaccines.
Borno State Ministry of Health received 300,000 doses of oral cholera vaccines from the Federal Ministry of Health, for which we are immensely grateful, and equally distributed these vaccines to the IDP camps and the flood-affected communities. The state is still expecting more supplies of the cholera vaccines from the Federal Ministry of Health.
This is not the end. We continue to pledge our support. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization has made donations of healthcare equipment to the Borno state government to help curtail the outbreak of cholera in the state in the aftermath of the flood disaster. Apart from the WHO, other humanitarian donor agencies are collaborating with the state's Ministry of Health to address the outbreak in the state.
So let's head to the nation's capital now, and Gloria Umezoke is standing by to give us the very latest from our Abuja studios. Over to you, Gloria.
Thank you, Ayo. We begin in Taraba State, where residents of Kwararafa Chiefdom in Gasol local government area are protesting alleged land grabbing, intimidation and harassment by the traditional ruler of Gasol Chiefdom, His Royal Highness Idi Chiroma. The protesters are alleging that the traditional ruler is coercing them to pay royalties on their farmlands and ponds, which they vowed to resist to ensure justice. However, the Secretary of the Traditional Council, Mr. Yunusa Umar, describes the allegation as baseless and untrue.
The Kwararafa Chiefdom was carved out of the Gasol Chiefdom by the previous administration of Governor Darius Ishaku in 2018 under the Taraba State Chieftaincy Amendment Law 2018. A total of 16 communities were carved out to create the chiefdom, and residents of the area are now claiming that they live in fear due to the alleged intimidation from the traditional ruler. The residents also allege that they have written to the state government to intervene, especially because of the deaths recorded in the area.
Alhaji Idris Yakubu Chiroma continue to cause the people of Kwararafa Chiefdom to be paying royalties to him on both farmers' land and water pond, even when those lands and waters pond fell under Kwararafa Chiefdom.
All what we want Abukefa to do for us now, we want Kwararafa should be in peace. We want Kwararafa should be in peace and peace.
We are pleading with the traditional ruler to facilitate the release of our leader. We are being chased at home and farmlands in attempts to arrest us for offenses we do not know. Sometimes we pay ransom for the release of our brothers and sisters kidnapped. Yet, they kill them at the end of the day.
However, the Secretary of the Chindom describes the allegations as false.
The Chief of Gasol has not even for once visited the disputed areas or sent anybody to act on his behalf since the creation of Kororofa Chiefdom. So how can anybody accuse him of harassing or intimidating the people of Kororofa Chiefdom?
In the meantime, the state government is calling for calm.
The government is really looking into this matter, interested in it, and also making every move to ensure that it's resolved amicably. In the meantime, government wants all the factions not to take the law into their hands and be patient enough to wait and see how government is planning, is going to resolve the issue.
Nevertheless, residents of the area are hoping that the state government will resolve the issue as soon as possible to enable them return to their normal lives.
Still ahead on the news at 10, African Development Bank says it is targeting 120 million tons of food production by 2025. That's on Business News. Please join us again. Welcome back. You're still watching the news at 10, coming to you live on Channels Television. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has conferred the nation's second highest national honor, the Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger, on the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas. The House of Representatives had objected to the conferment of the Commander of the Federal Republic on the Speaker and Deputy Senate President, while the Senate President and Chief Justice of Nigeria were conferred a higher honor, the Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger. A statement posted on X by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Mr. Bayo Onanuga, stated that President Tinubu was persuaded by the position of the House of Representatives and has decided to remedy the historical error and oversight. Earlier, a statement from the Special Advisor to the President on Senate Matters, Mr. Bashir Lado, clarified the controversy surrounding the conferment of national honors on presiding officers of both chambers of the National Assembly. The statement adds that the honors were conferred on the presiding officers based on laid-down precedents and procedures and not by any other criterion. Mr. Lado adds that the President never intended to belittle the office of the Speaker of the House of Representatives. The federal government has announced plans to sensitize the nation's youth to the importance of insurance, foster entrepreneurship, and create 1 million jobs across all the 774 local government areas of the country. Announcing this in Abuja, the Minister of State for Youth Development, Comrade Ayodele Olawande, says the federal government is determined to educate, inspire and connect Nigerian youths to careers and opportunities in the insurance sector using the power of digital technology. The Minister of Youth Development adds that the federal government is committed to increasing youth participation in the insurance sector in order to create jobs and enhance financial inclusion.
We understand that the major problem of the youth of this country is unemployment. Ministry with responsibility to create opportunities for youth. We are determined to work with every stakeholders to achieve this result. Neither in data management, nor in digital literacy, creative sector, or entertainment. We will continue to look for opportunities in all sectors in order to make the engagement of the young people. With this team, 1 million youth in insurance. The MOU we're about to sign will guide our efforts within the 1 year to bring 1 million Nigerian youth into the insurance sector. Trained, well-trained, and very well-trained for grateful, gainful employment. The future of Nigeria rests on the shoulder of the youth of this country. Make up of over 60% population of the youth. However, insurance, which is critical in the economic growth of a nation like Nigeria, as on the lines of crucial demography.
The Vice President, Kashim Shettima, has commended the developmental strides of Enugu State Governor Mr. Peter Mba, as he believes his work is worthy of emulation. The Vice President spoke after inspecting some projects as part of his working visit to Enugu State. According to the Vice President, the federal government will be willing to partner with Governor Mba in areas of education to tackle challenges of underdevelopment in Nigeria.
I was impressed by what I saw in Enugu. Is an understatement. I was overwhelmed by the giant strides recorded by Governor Mba and his team. He has embraced modernity, he has embraced digital technology. Most of the things I saw are avant-garde technologies, state-of-the-art security infrastructure, beautiful roads network. He's doing excellently well, and he is worthy to be emulated by other governors across the length and breadth of this nation. He is humble and self-effacing, and he needs to increase the decibel. He is doing well, and the world needs to know what he is doing. Honestly, I've learned a lot, and I will come back to learn more about the smart education. I'm obsessed with education, and so is the governor. We'll see how we can partner, because we are now in the phase of development. Politics is over. We have to coalesce into a single force to address the challenges of underdevelopment in our nation.
But that's it from the nation's capital. It's over now to Will Ibong in Lagos for business news.
Thank you, Gloria. Now, the African Development Bank, AFDB, is planning to produce an additional 120 million tons of food by 2025 to strengthen food security across Africa. The AFDB's Nigeria Director General, Dr. Abdul Kamara, who made this known at the 2024 West and Central Africa Regional Wheat Summit in Abuja, stressed the need to boost wheat production due to population growth and urbanization. Despite rising demand, wheat production in West and Central Africa remains low, forcing the region to depend on imports to meet its demands. Now, it's rising food and energy prices still a major pain for Nigerians. Analysts say one major thread passing through these issues is insecurity. According to Mr. Adebayo Adeleke, founder of Root Watch, the ministries, departments and agencies need to play their part in securing Nigeria, which would help to complement the effort of defense agencies. He made this comment on Business Morning earlier today.
So if you look at it, as Nigeria have never been insecure, we have always been insecure, but this much, probably not. You know, it's all about, you have to put it in context and in relative. But you've talked about, you know, food prices dropping. It's expected. You know, if you look at what's going on globally, it's not only Nigeria alone. Most of the countries are reporting inflation drop. The United States has dropped in the percentages as well, and we continue to see these things actually cascade into different countries, both developed and undeveloped countries. But one thing still remains: insecurity is the bane of most of all our, you know, trying to move from food insecurity to food security. But one of the things, all the matrices, all the different domains that we've collected data over the course of time, insecurity rather, has ranked top 1 or 2 factors actually affecting, either from food inflation, food scarcity, you know, food agricultural production or whatnot. Insecurity has always been.
Outside our shores, the European Union has officially voted to impose tariffs on battery electric vehicles, BEVs, made in China. This move follows concerns that Chinese EVs benefit from unfair subsidies and pose a threat to European manufacturers. The China Chamber of Commerce to the EU expressed disappointment, calling the decision protectionist and urging the EU to delay the measures and seek negotiated solutions. Despite adopting the tariffs, the EU stated it is still exploring other options. German automakers have also criticized the decision, as higher duties could impact both Chinese and international companies producing electric vehicles in China. The EU, that's the U.S. economy, saw a strong boost in September, adding 254,000 jobs. According to the Labor Department, this far, exceeded the 150,000 forecast and the revised 159,000 added in August. The unemployment rate dropped slightly to 4.1%, a 0.1% decrease from the previous month, indicating a healthier job market. Restaurants and bars were the biggest contributors, with the hospitality industry adding 69,000 jobs, a significant increase from its 12-month average of 14,000. And the domestic equities market made a rebound in today's trading session as investors make a dive for Seplat Energy. Laddie Williams tells us more.
Hello and welcome to the TGIF market close. The ASI snapped 2 days of losses, ending with a 0.47% jump today, 97,520 points. Couldn't get above that 98,000 level. Market cap 56 trillion. Let's look at the market mover, Seplat Energy, again gaining today. I guess it's still on the back of President Bola Tinubu confirming that a ministerial approval for ExxonMobil and the Seplat divestment is underway, and that's driving the share price of Seplat there, adding about 451 naira today. And also, if you look at sectoral performance, that's also driven the oil and gas counter there with a big 3.49% jump. Consumer goods, the only laggard today, down 0.47%, and banking also following the bullish trend, 0.11%. So the question now is, will Seplat continue that bullish run into next week? Does it still have legs? I guess we'll find out. But today, it's the bulls.
That's it on business. It's back to Ayotunde for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you so much, Will. An Israeli airstrike has hit near the main border crossing point for people fleeing the escalating bombing and ground campaign in Lebanon for neighboring Syria. Israel's military said it had hit Hezbollah targets near the Masnar crossing and earlier claimed the group was using it to smuggle weapons into Lebanon. Here's Simon Puser with more on this and other international news in Around the World in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. More airstrikes have been reported in southern Beirut and Lebanon as Israel tells more than 30 villages in the south to evacuate. Huge explosions shook the sky in the vicinity of Beirut's main airport in the early hours of Friday, minutes after the landing of an aircraft. The massive overnight Israeli strikes in Beirut are believed to have targeted the man expected to take over as Hezbollah's leader, Hashem Safiedin. He was reportedly in an underground bunker and his fate is still unclear. A major road out of Lebanon was hit overnight. Pictures show a large crater near the border crossing into Syria, where thousands of people have been fleeing. Israel says the route was being used to transport weapons. Rockets continued to be fired into Israel from Lebanon. Lebanon's health ministry said earlier 37 people have been killed in Israeli ground and air attacks in the past 24 hours. More than 2,000 people have now been killed since last October. Protesters in Jordan have taken to the streets of Amman in support of Gaza's Palestinians as the war in the enclave nears its first anniversary on October the 7th. Thousands of people marched in the capital, waving the Jordanian and Palestinian flags while chanting slogans. Some were seen holding the Lebanese flag. Almost weekly protests have been taking place in Jordan in support of Gaza. Jordan, which lies at the heart of the Arab-Israeli conflict, hosts 2.4 million Palestinian refugees, the largest number of such refugees among Israel's neighbors. Yemen's Iranian-backed Houthi militia have released a video showing a vessel being hit by a missile and bursting into flames on Tuesday. According to maritime security agencies and sources monitoring the area, 2 vessels sustained damage after being hit with missiles and a sea drone off Yemen's Red Sea port of Hodaya. Both vessels reported that their crews were safe. Houthis have launched attacks on international shipping near Yemen in solidarity with Palestine in the war between Israel and Hamas in the Gaza Strip. The former Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney has described the former President Donald Trump's actions on January the 6th as depravity as she campaigned with Vice President Kamala Harris in Wisconsin. Cheney and her father Dick Cheney, who was vice president under George W. Bush, are staunch conservatives and two of the most prominent Republicans to have endorsed Harris against Trump. Both have sharply criticized Mr. Trump, the Republican nominee, calling his refusal to accept the 2020 election loss as disqualifying. The death toll from Hurricane Helene has surpassed 200 as rescuers continue to search for survivors from the storm that tore across the U.S. southeast. Dramatic video here showing parts of a building being swept away in the floodwaters. More than half of the deaths have been in North Carolina, where entire communities have been uprooted and devastated by the deadliest mainland storm since Hurricane Katrina in 2005, which killed more than 1,800 people. Hundreds of people are still missing, and 780,000 homes are without power nearly a week after Helene made landfall. The rising death toll comes as President Joe Biden continues his two-day tour of the area, visiting Florida and Georgia on Thursday. The convictions of Eric and Lyle Menendez, who were jailed more than 3 decades ago for the murder of their parents in the U.S., are set to be reviewed. The brothers shot Jose and Kitty Menendez at their Beverly Hills mansion in 1989 in what prosecutors said was a plot to inherit their father's fortune. But the L.A. County District Attorney, George Gascon, said there was a moral and ethical obligation to review evidence submitted by the brothers last year, which claims they were sexually abused by their father and acted in self-defense. There has been renewed public interest in the murders since a Netflix series depicting the events was released in September. And Thai authorities and conservationists are struggling to rescue over 100 elephants, dozens of pigs and other animals after flash flooding hit the country's northern Chiang Mai province. Officials say 117 elephants had been saved, but 9 more need help. The Southeast Asian nation's northern region has been hit with heavy flooding since August. The elephant is Thailand's national animal, and a white elephant, a symbol of good fortune, was featured on the Thai flag at one point in time. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. 2 games have been scheduled for Saturday in match day 5 of the Nigeria Premier Football League. League leaders, Remo Stars, will hope to maintain their perfect start to the season and win their 5th straight game when they travel to Ilorin to face host Kwara United. The hosts are yet to win a game this season. The Sky Blue Stars have won their first 4 matches of the season. Lobby Stars, who have lost 3 of their 4 games this season, will host Shooting Stars in the other game on Saturday. Paul Pogba's 4-year drug ban has been reduced to 18 months following a successful appeal at the Court of Arbitration for Sport. Pogba, who tested positive for dehydroandrosterone in the first game of the 2023-24 season, is free to start playing for Juventus again from March next year. Italy's National Anti-Doping Tribunal accepted the request of the Anti-Doping Prosecutor's Office to hand out a 4-year ban last March, which is the standard length of ban under the World Anti-Doping Code. That's it on sports. It's back to you, Ayotunde.
Many thanks, Chris. And the main news again. Tensions are at fever pitch in Rivers State as Governor Simonalayi Fubara has alleged an attempt by the police to invade the premises of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, (RISEC), to disrupt the planned local government election tomorrow. And the Nigerian police has said that it is abiding by a subsisting Federal High Court order barring it from participating in the Rivers elections and has deployed increased security throughout the state. That's the news at 10 tonight. Many thanks for watching. I'm Ayotunde. Welcome to have a great weekend. Please stay safe.